Hi everyone. Hugo was born in a funny way actually, because at first I thought about him as a role for me to play. I started out as an actor, and I was, when you're an aspiring actor, you go to auditions, you don't get that many roles, and I've always been a proactive kind of person, so I started to think about a character that I could play and create for myself. And I've always liked urban fantasy. I was enjoying the idea of the genre, of our contemporary world, but with this magical, mystical layer within it. And I just started thinking what kind of character I could play there, who he is, what kind of person he is. I just started, to play with this idea, and this is how Hugo started to come into existence. I just started to write the first iterations of my scripts for short films or web series. It took me about a year or two. And then I just had this idea, why not start writing about him as in a short story form? Because making films or even web series, even guerrilla style, it's very time consuming, very expensive, very difficult to organize. So I started to write short stories about a year and a half ago on Substack. And that's very interesting because then I learned that I actually liked writing fiction in the prose form, not just screenwriting form. And it slowly started to gain traction on Substack, and I actually discovered that I'm not just an actor, I'm just a film director, but I'm also a writer, and I really like doing it. And I've discovered in this process also the world that I want to build, and what kind of character Hugo really is. And I began to delve into all the ideas that I was having about both the character and the world. And it allowed me to go deeper and deeper without any real organizational hustle and everything that filmmaking involves. And I think it was actually a really good idea. So maybe it also could be interesting for you actually, if you want to start to create a world, a cinematic world around something, maybe start to write short stories about this world or this protagonist. And Hugo became a really living, breathing character for me. Of course, he was also me, in a way. I created him a little bit, I have to admit, as a higher version of me. Someone who is really competent and self-confident, and a kind of aspirational version, perhaps, for myself. But I also, I like the idea of the urban fantasy genre, but in many ways I was never really that fond of a genre, because I couldn't really find. Well, I mean, it's a lot of it's in many ways a very young adult skewing genre, and there are not that many grown up adult characters in urban fantasy. I couldn't really find a lot of characters that I would really find compelling in this literary space. Maybe except, Ben Aronovich, who is very good actually. And probably the most famous example of an adult urban fantasy character is Harry Dresden, but I really don't like him. Actually, I find Hugo to be a little bit like anti-Dresden in many ways, but that's probably a topic for another video. So I also wanted to actually create something new in this space, to create a character that would be aspirational in many ways, but also, I guess, self-confident, mature, grown-up, competent, emotionally aware character. And also, a lot of urban fantasy is very American. And I wanted to create something deeply European, a European character, a Central European at that, which is even more niche, Polish character like me. Interestingly, right now that I've been writing it for about a year and a half, I'm actually at the point that I really know Hugo well. I really know the world that I want to create and the vibe of this world. And now I'm ready to actually go back to my first idea, which is to start writing and shooting. First of all, the short forms and ultimately a web series about Hugo. Me starring in the main role, obviously. This idea still stands. So yeah, it's been actually a very interesting process. And also an interesting learning in all of this is to actually start doing things and to follow your creative process and see how things actually work out. And when you start doing something, things change. And even better, if you start actually publishing your work, because it changes how you see your work. It's somehow, in a way, you confront your work with the public, and you see it with a different eye. And when you publish it, you're also doing something in public and for other people. It's not, you're not isolating yourself, which actually, I believe, in a subconscious way, it speeds up your learning. So it's been a very, very interesting journey, and I'm really happy that I found the courage to actually start writing it, to start publishing it. And I can definitely say that after a year and a half, right now, I am a much better storyteller in every possible way. And my advice to you is to just start doing the thing that's on your mind and to start publishing the work that is on your mind. And I promise you, it's really going to be a fascinating journey that will change you and will change everything around you and in your creative work.